So I was having this conversation with my coach the other day, and we were kind of like going over my business and trying to figure out things that I need to keep on doing, things that I need to stop doing, and just trying to make my my work a lot smarter. And he came up with an example that kind of like blew up on him, but gave me the idea for this episode. And he was asking me about different sports figures, right? And one of the things he asked me was, because he knows I like soccer, he asked me, well, Lionel Messi, he's the best player in history, right? And I'm like, yeah, fine. So I'm sure Lionel Messi puts a lot of intention both in attacking and defending. And I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? He actually does not defend that much. He is kind of like waiting for the ball to come his way so he can be fresh whenever the ball comes his way. And here's the thing. I started looking at some stats and I already knew that Lionel Messi did not run as much as the majority of the other players, but when I saw the stats, it just blew my mind. Okay, just for context, just an average soccer player would run around 7 miles per game. That's kind of like average pace for anyone who's trying to work. I'm not talking about the hard workers who are fighting for every ball. I'm talking about the average football player, right? The average soccer player would be 7 miles per game. Lionel Messi, he does 4 miles per game. It's almost half. He runs almost half as everyone else. And he's the best player in the world. Like, he could run as much, be as tired as everyone else, and still be better than everyone. But he knows that if he can save his energy for when it actually matters, then the difference is going to be so big, it's going to be impossible for anyone to stop him, right? So when I saw this data, it reminded me about this idea that I always talk to my clients and that I think is really important in fitness, about hard work versus smart work, right? I see a lot of people who go into the gym and they blast they go balls to the wall, like all in, every single day, just going as hard as they can, like going to failure and hitting personal best every day and just not missing any workouts. And that can work for a little bit of time, but at the end, you're gonna end up burning the candle on both ends. This is the thing, you're only as good, or your transformation will only be as good as your body can recover from it. Because at the end of the day, if you go to the workout every day and you go to failure and you kind of like leave it all in the workout, yeah, it feels good for a moment, but when it comes to you doing the same workout tomorrow and the workout the day after that and the day after that and the day after that, your body will just automatically start feeling less recovered and less recovered and less recovered and less recovered, and this is gonna come to a point where you're gonna have diminishing returns. Okay, you're gonna be putting the same amount of effort, but you're not gonna get any returns at all. Why? Because you're only working hard, you're not working smart. All right? This is the same thing as when I look at someone who's just getting started on a fitness transformation, and they tell me, oh, I'm doing 5 workouts per week and I'm controlling my calories, my carbohydrates, my fats, my protein, then I'm taking this supplement and that supplement, and I'm also doing cardio, and then I'm hiking on the weekends, and then I'm doing these competitions. Like, yo, like, what are you doing all this for? Like, what's the point of doing 20 different things if 18 of those are only gonna give you 1% of the results? At the end of the day, you probably are familiar with the Pareto rule, which means that 20% of the effort is gonna give you 80% of the results, right? And that's my definition of working smart. It's, okay, you need to find out what are the less things that are gonna give you the most results, and focus on getting those right, and focus on hammering those and mastering those. Because here's the thing, if you can do 2 things and get 80% of the results, or do 10 things and get 100% of the results, what are the chances that you're gonna maximize 2 things versus what are the chances that you're gonna maximize 10 things? Because here's the thing, what a lot of people don't realize, that the fact that 10 things will give you 100% of the result, it's only if you do them perfectly. It's not because you're tracking all your macros, doing the cardio, doing the workouts, doing the steam out sauna and hiking on the weekend. Not because you're doing all those things, you're gonna get all the results, because you need to do them right, okay? But the problem is that when you try to do too many things, you don't do any of those right, and you end up, instead of getting the 100% results that you're looking for, you end up getting 50. While if you only focus on a couple of things, that are really strategic, that are going to give you 80% of the results, but that you can actually master them, then you're going to be able to, to get the maximum out of those things, which is going to be 80% of the results. You're going to be in a much better position than if you were trying to do everything at once, and at the same time, you're going to have more life because you're not going to have to be trying to do 20 different things at the same time. So what this story about Messi told me, or when I saw the stats, is like best in the world are what they don't care to say, or they very few of them care to say that they're the hardest worker in the room. Like if you really look at the top 0.00001%, they don't care if they're working 20 more hours, or if they're working out 5 more times, or if they are eating less. Like they don't care. They only care about the results. They only care about what they're getting from what they're doing. And if they can be the best in the world and work half as everyone else, they will do it. Another great example, this is more on business, but I think it's applicable as well, is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett spends 6 to 7 hours a day reading. And in many cases, he's reading stuff that is not even business related, that is not even investment related. And he has this quote that I love that is, if I make 2 good decisions per year, I had a really great year. So his goal of output is just to make 2 good decisions in 1 year. Really, really little output, he's gonna get the best returns of any other investment in the world. So if this is not hammering home, I really don't know how to put this in a different way. It's not about how much you push. It's not about how much you restrict yourself. It's not about how many things you try to control. At the end of the day, it's about how much results you get. How many results you get, what's the outcome that you get. Because here's the thing, I hate to put it this way, some people might get offended with it, but that's fine, this is who I am. I don't like participation trophies. I think that I understand idea behind them in terms of like, hey, you put the effort, you should be rewarded. But the thing is, at the end of the day, in life, just because you worked harder than someone else does not mean that you're gonna get the job. Just because you tried harder does not mean that you're gonna get your partner to come with you. Just because you worked out more does not mean that you're gonna have a better body. Just because you work more doesn't mean you're gonna make more money. The truth is that life is different. Like you get the results, and that's all that matters. Okay, because at the end of the day, if you work out 10 hours and I work out 2 and I get better results than you, I'm gonna be the one who has worked smarter. Because at the end of the day, I put in less input and got in more output. In that sense, my goal with this episode is to show you that you should not be worrying about how hard you're working, or if, let's say, you're in a phase in your transformation where what your body requires is easing it up. Okay, it's maybe you have a deload week. Maybe you have a different phase where you have to use less volume and you have to focus on recovery more than building, or maybe you have to do a smaller calorie deficit so you don't lose that much weight, but you know all the weight that you're losing is actually fat and not risking to lose any muscle. Sometimes you need to focus on doing less things so you can get more and better results. And that's how you're gonna make sure that you're working smarter and not just harder. And you're gonna be able to get all the results that you want, and most importantly, you're gonna be able to keep them for life. So hopefully this was helpful. If you didn't know about Messi, I invite you to check it out. I'm not making this up. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing that like the best soccer player in the world will run half as much as the average soccer player. But I think it drives a really good point. So hopefully you can get something out of this. And like we always say, if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and share it with someone who might benefit from it. And I'll talk to you in the next episode next week. Take care.